Welcome to Talking Trail, a podcast from some passionate runners in the Blue Mountains where we talk about trail running locally and globally. And today we're going to do a few race updates as well as some interviews. Where do we want to start?
Well, you guys have been racing a bit lately in the last month or so, but we'll start with the most fresh one, which was Barlow yesterday. You both competed there at different distances. So ladies first. Sarah, you did the
literally
Devil's Dash 16K.
Yeah. Running Wilds event.
Yeah. How did you go?
I'm very happy.
I really shouldn't lead with that because, you know, all runners are so humble, especially when they're really good and they get on the podium. So Sarah, you won the event.
Not outright.
Not outright, but what was it?
Second outright.
Second outright.
And course record.
And a new course record in the females for the 16K. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much did you break the course record by?
I think around 9 minutes.
Oh,
that's
crazy. More than 10%, isn't it?
That's insane.
Because what was it, like an hour and...
It was an hour 15. It's only been running for last year was its inaugural year, I think officially with Running Wild. So, yeah, just wanted to go out hard and see what I had. And, yeah, it was good fun. It's a beautiful trail.
So what was your time?
My average pace was 4:05.
Awesome.
But 16Ks, it's not like you with the 34. It's half.
We had
the
some
distance.
hills too.
Yeah, I think the 16Ks for those in the future that want something quite mild, I think it's a good mild trail run. Not too hilly. There was like 1 and a bit Ks on technical fire trail, but then the other fire trail's like very graded. So I found it like it's nice. It's great. It's beautiful. It's beautiful how you do a turnaround and you get to see everyone. I kind of like that. And everyone.
So is it true out and back?
Yeah, it's a true out and back. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's good fun.
And Henry Hugman, a friend of ours, came first overall in the Devil's Dash.
He also set the course record.
Yeah, new course record in the men's as well.
He was clocking something like 3:38 or something.
Yeah, 3:37.
Well, I was going to ask, so did you sort of have him in sight?
No,
most of the way until
that'd be great. No, he was
first
ahead. He was in his own realm, and he had a great run. And I think he broke the course record by quite a few minutes as well. But he was under an hour.
Yeah,
excellent.
58 minutes for 16Ks. It's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty good.
But for the males podium, also Lee Shakespeare had a great 3rd overall. And Scott Noon, 4th overall, but 3rd male. And they've been hitting the park run at Lawson.
I know, I've been racing those two guys at park run.
So it was awesome to see them podium.
Yeah, probably. I think Lee, probably enjoyed doing something short.
Yeah, he gave me a nudge for about 3-4 Ks. He was with me, and then I heard him I heard his breathing slowly go a little bit back. But he was around.
So personally, I noticed with some joy a couple of other runners. So Jem Rooney, who's been a sort of a sparring partner over at Blue Goat a couple of years for me, he came 8th overall, which was great. And David Riches, who I don't know if you guys know. So David's a bit of a legend in the mountains, incredibly fast runner, and has had some ill health in the last couple of years. So I saw a Facebook post of his that this was his first actual race back.
Good on him.
Since, getting back to health, and he was 21st overall, and second in the 60+ age group. So
that's awesome.
So it was great to see Dave back.
And also finishing out the females podium in the 16Ks was Nicole Raymond with 1 hour and 18 minutes, and Kelly Gibson with also 1 hour and 18 minutes. They actually had a sprint finish. It was quite. I think Kelly was in the lead the whole time, and Nicole pipped her right at the post.
Wow.
So it was a cool finish. Congrats to them as well.
Excellent. And then not only was there the 16K, the Devil's Dash, there was also the Billy to Bomo, so Bilpin to Bowen Mountain run, and the 34K, which you competed in quite successfully.
Yeah, I won the age category. So representing the old fellas, I got in at, I managed to, I think the age categories was, 51
to 60.
So I nailed that one. But yeah, had a great race. I felt really, really good. I was surrounded by really fast women the whole race. So Anne Hand was
Good,
just in
yeah.
front of me. I had Joe breathing down my neck, and Evan breathing down my neck behind me. And yeah, there was some amazing times. Ronan, who won, he just took off from the beginning, and I kept seeing him on the out and backs. We had about 3 or 4 different out and backs, and he was always just finishing the out and back when I was just getting onto it.
Yeah, he won with quite a lead. 2
Yeah, it was
hours
like
and
20
25
minutes or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nearly 20 minutes.
And then
And he was continuing that good form that he had throughout last year. I remember season 1 of this podcast, and just every time we talked about races was Ronan McNally first or Ronan McNally second. So
following up from his Mount Solitary win as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had a great race. And then there was a young guy behind him, Blake Drew. And then Brendan Davies was back out there having another crack. So
And fourth overall male was you as well?
Yeah, I was behind Brendan. So.
Yeah, it was good to see Brendan back
Yeah.
into the racing again after a fair bit of time canyoning and
road
doing
gaining.
some
He likes the road
adventure
gain.
stuff. Yeah. We also had Skip Humphreys, who came along to our Lockleys to Perry's return summit gear run. So he finished just behind you.
Yeah.
So a few minutes behind, and then Colm Phelan, was just behind him. So
far behind that, and great. Just so the Emma Gray from the ladies won the overall event.
I think that's
flying.
A course record too.
Yeah,
Emily's was 250.
I think she got second overall.
Yeah, amazing.
So same as in the 16Ks, and then Anne Hand. So I was chasing her the whole back end of the race, and I just couldn't catch her. And she finished much stronger than me. So, she did great.
She had a good year. She just did the miler at UTA.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then
well.
Anne-Marine Cook was just behind us. So
great.
So 34 Ks must feel like a sprint to someone who's just finished a miler a number of weeks ago. So
it did feel quite fast, actually. It's incredibly runnable. It was great to have the big hills there because that's where I could catch some people. So, but yeah, it was really fun. It was just
it's
nice
a good event.
To
There's alpacas at the finish line. They have a good zone for people to play with the kids. Free sausage sizzle. It's great.
And I've got to say, I'm not used to running at that intensity for that long. So we always get to break it up here in the upper mountains with the stairs and the hills and stuff. But it was incredibly runnable.
And I'll just mention the kids race as well, because with events like what Running Wild has put on and the Hawkesbury Trail Runners in this instance try and make it a real family affair. So it was great to see the same surnames repeated. Obviously, there's quite some age group differences there, but in the kids' boys, first was Fletcher Northwood, second was Cooper Northwood, 12th was Wesley Northwood, and 15th was Finlay Northwood.
Oh, wow.
The third runner was Harley Hannon, and fourth was Harry Hannon, which was great. And then we also had, and fifth place was Levi Moylan, and then eighth place was Axel Moylan. So, it was great to see, obviously, some little family dynasties coming up through the ranks there. In the girls, we had Evie Ram first, JC Callan was second, and Grace Thompson was third.
What was that distance?
I don't know what the
Probably
distance
2
was. It was just the kids' race. Was it 1.6 Ks, I think,
cool.
maybe?
Yeah. So, well represented. Lots of people there that we knew, and it was just another great Running Wild event.
Yeah.
Yolandi Boys continues her great form as well. She's been running really well. She ran well at Jarvis Bay, and then put together a really strong run yesterday, and managed to take Mel Shields after Mel did a face plant.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
I wondered that, because Mel's been training the house down over at Perry's and in the
But again, Yolandi's running really strong.
She is, absolutely.
Doing great. So, well done.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So our summer gear runs, we should talk about those. So we've had a couple that have been course-specific or race-specific recently. So back on the 6th of July, we did the Lockleys to Perry's return run.
Was that fun?
It was tough. It was tough for me, but it was great because we saw so many people out there. There was, the Blue Mountains Fitness Group were out there. There were some guys who were training for Grampians that we bumped into. A couple of people training for UTMB or Leadville.
Leadville, ran into Shane Simpson out there and ran with him for a while. He's running very well. He's heading off to Leadville, so ran with him. Tried to keep up with him, and it was a good test. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the following week, we had on the 13th of July, we did the 6-foot standout training session, which is Explorer's Tree to the River Return.
Yeah.
That's also a tough morning out.
It's a good initiator, don't you think? Because it's like one of the ones, if you don't know the race and it's your first kind of ish 30K, it's a very cool first 30K because the first 15's enjoyable. It's great. It's downhill. You get to the river. You feel good. This isn't hard, but then it's always quite a brutal return.
Climbing back, it spanks you if you've
as my son who did his first 30K found out on the way back. It was so funny. We got home and because he cramped just about every muscle that he had coming up, Nellie's claim. And he fell on the couch and I couldn't get him off it for the rest of the day. So that was his Sunday done and dusted on the couch. So
yeah, I want to do a shout out to John from Kingsgrove, who we met out on the course. I sort of caught up with him around Megalong Road, the crossing there, and we just got chatting. And then he mentioned that he was just sort of moving into trail running. He's signed up for 6 foot. His first 6 foot this year, so wanted to be out on course, and mentioned that he'd been learning some tips from this podcast from these guys at Katoomba.
So running store in Katoomba.
So we introduced ourselves. It was great to hear someone who had no idea who we were.
I wondered why when I said hi, I'm Robert, he laughed because he'd obviously had that discussion with you beforehand. So that was quite funny.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of really good runs coming up in the next couple of Sundays as well, before we have a bit of a hiatus when we hit all of the races pretty much every weekend. So on this Sunday, the 27th, we've got the Megalong Mega, so another key 6 foot training run.
Yeah,
I was going to say, if you want to enjoy the race and you haven't done it before, that's such a crucial one to do.
Yeah.
With enough time to recover before the race.
Yeah, you get exposure to mini.
Yeah, you just know what it's coming, and it's a big hill, but you get to know the curves a bit better.
And then Pluvy as well, and then suffer on the way back from Constance River back to your car on Megalong Road. And then the following week, we're doing a Hounslow recce for people. So we're running from Perry's and doing half of the Hounslow
we're going to
course.
do the front half because we keep doing Perry's Lockleys, and we thought, let's do the front half. And then at the end of it, if anyone feels like it, they can run down Perry's and come back up. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds fun.
All right.
You're sending that challenge out.
Yeah, that's right. So
see who does it.
It's actually a strange thing, like having to get ready for both Hounslow and 6 foot.
Very different races. Yeah.
It's totally different.
As I said, there's a lot of races coming up. Like September is a really full.
It's packed. Yeah.
And you've got some things coming up.
I do. Yeah, I've set myself quite a challenging challenge, very difficult challenge. So again, it's just with cancellations and races and events moving dates this year compared to last year or previous years. Ultimately, I've signed up for 3 events in 5 weeks, all of which are ultra distance. So, that's quite difficult. So I've got 24 hours on the further stairs going up and down for the Fireys Climb for MND. We've, supported that event for a number of years. And last year I was a bit broken. I was in a boot, so helped out with the aid station, but couldn't do the 24 hours that I'd promised Gav that I would do. So, I'm going to do that this year. And then because of March's race cancellation or postponement, we've got 6 foot a week later. And then
so
3
literally
weeks.
6 days, 6 days, 7 days later.
7 days later.
Correct.
Yeah. 7 days later. And then 3 weeks after that, I've got the Lonely Mountain Milo, which is my A-goal race for the year.
So how are you going to keep yourself injury-free?
That is a very intriguing question, and it's something that I've got some help. So, I've always been self-coached and been quite happy with how that's turned out. But I am also a real believer of it takes a village to raise a child, and that sort of ethos of, getting more people involved, you get a better outcome. And I thought, I'm surrounded by a whole lot of very knowledgeable, experienced people here in the Blue Mountains, some that we've highlighted in the past and some that we are yet to. So, one of the things with the Lonely Mountain, there is no actual mountain over at Orange called Lonely Mountain. It's Mount Canobolas that everyone races up at the Lonely Mountain Ultra weekend. And so they've sort of named it after the fabled mountain in The Hobbit. So in keeping with the whole theme of Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, when you finish the Lonely Mountain Ultra Miler, the medal that you receive for finishing, similar to Tarawera's Punamu that you get, at Lonely Mountain you get a silver ring on a silver necklace, which is just, very similar to what Frodo Baggins had to carry all the way to Mount Doom to get rid of the one ring. So I had decided, again, in keeping with Lord of the Rings, to name the group of people that are going to help me in this challenge my Fellowship of the Ring. So if you're a Tolkien fan, that's the first book of the trilogy. Because I obviously want to arrive at my A goal race as strong and as fit and healthy as I can and not be a broken, blubbering mess, either at the start line or halfway through the race. So I thought I'll get some support from and tap into the knowledge of some of the experts and professionals we've got here in the mountains. So
who are the Blue Mountains?
So
Fellowship.
So the fellows, the people that have signed up for the Fellowship of the Ring. So I've got Louis Squadrito as a run and strength coach.
Good choice.
I've got Katie Rainbird as my nutritionist, so she's given me some helpful tips there. Jason Wheeler, physiotherapist with First Choice Physiotherapy, he's on board as well. And I've also got Phil Smith, podiatrist from Birdwood Podiatry. So, so I've sat down with all of them to talk about me, but it's not an entirely selfish endeavor, this, because I thought it would be useful, and this is something that we talked about with Louis Squadrito last year when he launched LabFit. It shouldn't just be the elites who are able to access all of this expertise, whether a nutritionist or strength coach training, or run coaches or whatever. I don't believe that people should who are enjoying their running, enjoying their trail running, want to get into ultras, that it's only for the people, the elites, only the people that are on a podium that could benefit from having a coach or from getting some nutritional tips, or to go and see a podiatrist. A lot of these services, when I was talking to these people, they were like, we don't really only want to see you when you're broken, when you're injured. And that's when most people go to see a physio, for instance. And it would be so much better to spend some time getting some prehab so that you don't get injured, and the same, it's like, I've got gut problems or whatever, and I'll just keep bombing out and DNFing in races. Well, maybe you should, tap into some of this knowledge.
So the idea here is you're going to get some advice from these people, but it's going to be advice that other people hopefully will get stuff out of as well. Yeah,
so obvious disclaimer, that yes, we should always say
general advice.
It's very general advice. If there was any specific advice, it's purely about me. So no one else listening to it should say, oh, well, she said this or he said that, and therefore I've adopted that. Well, you should go and see those people to get the one-on-one personal advice. But I figure there's an awful lot of tips and knowledge that's being shared that I think a whole lot of people listening to this should be able to take some advantage from, or even just might be curious and might pose some questions and say, oh, I've never considered that. What's my circumstance? And then maybe, give these people a call. Make an appointment and go and see them. So this week we've got Louis Squadrito from LabFit, and then after
he's running through your running program.
Yes, so I've given him my run program, my Mylar program, and then he's offered his opinion and advice and insights into that.
So someone that's always been self-coach, you're going to listen to the coaching advice?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I've adopted some of it.
Some of it.
I won't go into it because we talk about it, but obviously his preference would have been that I came to him a year ago for such a big, incredible challenge as 3 ultras in 5 weeks. And so he was like, don't try this at home. Very much took that position.
There's caveats.
Yeah, absolutely. And then following my chat, my one-on-one consult with Louis is I sit down with Katie Rainbird to talk about my nutrition.
Everyday nutrition as well as race nutrition.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And so we're going to break this into 2 episodes.
So these 2 will be in one episode because they're short enough.
Yep. So we've got 2 people in one episode.
2 people in one, and then our follow-up episode will be with Jason and Phil.
Great.
Yeah, to talk from a physio perspective and also from a podiatry perspective. Yeah.
So what would you see a podiatrist is all feet, isn't it? So any foot issue and pre-feet. What is it? What? Give us some examples, just a little precursor to what that episode would be. The difference with podiatry.
Well, it can also. I mean, your feet. And I don't want to talk, on behalf of podiatrists, but I don't have that knowledge. But not only where people are having issues, whether that's with their arches or plantar fasciitis or heel spurs or bunions and things like that, toenails, ingrown toenails. It's quite common for ultra runners, particularly to lose toenails, or mountain runners from having shoes that don't have enough space in the toe box, and so you'll share photos, 2 or 3 days after a race of your black toes. That's quite common. So you can avoid that, but also, there's actually Phil, I asked him that question and say, what else would you come to a podiatrist for?
Oh, great.
So he does cover that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds interesting.
So we've got 2 episodes, 4 specialists trying to get you through this crazy stint of ultra events that you lined yourself up with in 5 weeks. Yeah. That should be interesting.
Yeah, which now is only, unfortunately, is now about Lonely Mountain, I think, is 10 weeks away.
Yeah.
Today.
But first race is 6 weeks away-ish.
That's it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, maybe it's 9 weeks away.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know.
So I guess here's the interview with Lewis
first
Quadrito.
up, Lewis Quadrito. Yep.
Nice.
So, Lewis, as part of my fellowship of the ring in trying to get me to have a bulletproof body and be in the best shape I could be when I take on the miler at Lonely Mountain, and knowing I've got this really big challenge of effectively 3 ultras in 5 weeks, but the Lonely Mountain miler is absolutely the A goal and the event that I want to do the best at and perform my best. There's an old saying that a lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client. I've been self-coached. I've been looking after my own programming pretty much ever since I took up running. I've never really had a proper coach, but I figured with such a big challenge as this, and knowing that I am surrounded by a whole lot of very smart, educated people with a lot of experience and knowledge, then for this big challenge I've got coming up, I thought it'd be a good idea to tap into some of that knowledge. So what I've done is I've shared the program I wrote for myself for the miler with Lewis, and now I've just asked Lewis to give me some feedback on that. So we sort of consider this a coaching call, as it were. Yeah,
absolutely.
So we're currently in, I think I've got about 15 weeks to go.
Yeah, very cool. So that probably gives you 3 training blocks as well, just based off what you've got put into your program as well, because you're doing kind of 4 to 5 week blocks with your deloads at the end of each one. The first thing I think is very important to say is the idea of doing these very tricky races with such a condensed time frame to get everything done is a bit of a don't try this at home, kids. And ideally, if you had come and gone, hey, I've got this idea of doing these 3 events, I want to do them all pretty well, I'd have gone, cool, year 1, let's do this one, year 2, let's do this one, and year 3, let's cap it off with this one.
Yep.
Throwing them all into a 5-week period, there's only so much risk mitigation you can do. So
absolutely acknowledge that. It's my own foolhardiness and stupidity to take on such a big challenge. But
so now let's look at how to pull off a foolhardy, silly thing to do. So the first thing I would do as well, all of this is going to be quite general assumptions just based off what I know about you, but we haven't done any assessments or any formal coaching before. So it's kind of taken a program that I don't have a whole lot of knowledge around anyway, and then trying to dissect it and just throwing around ideas and going, there may be better things to do. But with training being quite an individualized thing, I don't know a lot of your training history. So that would be something where we should have gone over.
I'll put my hand up. I'm putting you on the spot with this one, and very much coming in
line for you in where I'm at and what I've done previously. So yes, not at all typical for you taking on a new client.
No, absolutely not. But let's roll with it, see how it is. So I'm looking at your program now, and the first thing that jumps out of me is all of your measurements and markers are all just written in kilometres. Right?
Yes.
So we've got Monday, no running. Tuesday, you started with shorter runs and then it progressively built it up from kind of 6K, and then by the end of the training block, you'll be up to around 10. Wednesday's starting at 10, building your way up to some midweek long runs, which is a good thing to do, midweek long runs. Thursday's same as the Tuesday, kind of starts short, gradually builds up, and then the weekends are quite chunky, which I'm assuming a lot of that is around work schedules and a lot of those sorts of things as well.
Yep.
And probably a lot of time on feet at work, given that you work at a shop.
Yep.
Yep. So all of that sounds about right so far?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool. So the things that are good with what you've written down so far is that you have got deloads put in. So the majority of the time when I see a training program, someone goes, hey, can you have a look at this for me? It is usually more, and then they give their body no chance to actually catch up and express what they've done, and they don't adapt to the stimulus, and it's just, let's smash ourselves until we're broken.
Yep.
Being that it's only a short training block, having deloads in there is a very good thing. Which is good. Deloads are where you actually absorb the training and create all the adaptions and all the good stuff happens. So we definitely want to have those in there.
So I've got that pretty much every fourth week is come down. It's like sort of 55 to 60% of the mileage of the average of the previous 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that looks quite good. The considerations that I have for that depends on the density of the training, as far as you've got the volume written there in terms of kilometres, but I don't know what those kilometres are. Yep. Are they hard stuff? Are they hilly stuff? Are they fast, flat stuff on tracks? Are they all slow, easy mileage? And all of that stuff will determine how quickly does the breakdown actually happen. If we were looking at a 80K week of quite easy, gentle running, the mechanical stress won't be as high, but the time under tension or the time you're on your feet will be higher. So there's a bit of a trade-off between the two. If we were to have it the other way around, where we had tons of really, really hard volume, so you weren't on your feet for as long, but the mechanical breakdown was really high, we'd want to be deloading quite frequently to allow things like Achilles and plantar and all of the structures in your body to recover, more so than the energetics to recover. Assuming you're in that more easy mileage sort of stuff, which most people are when they try and train for a miler, we're probably looking at 4 weeks being fine, because you won't have that tissue breakdown as quick.
Yeah, so obviously this program isn't ideal. So yes, and life gets in the way, and I've built in a fair bit of float for that. But the idea, and that's why Tuesday is low mileage, because that's the speed work day, ideally. Yeah. So that might be track work, or it might be a road run, or a trail run, but where there's some fast intervals, timed intervals, things like that. Yeah. So that's why the distance is not high for that day. Yeah,
and that makes a lot of sense.
Wednesday's mileage, which will just keep getting bigger and bigger, and that, especially when it gets to the numbers around sort of 18, 20, 24 kilometres for the Wednesday, that may well end up being 2 runs. So one in the morning and one in the afternoon after work or evening, to add up to that total. And then Thursdays would be hill sessions, so hill repeats, or a very hilly run, to where it's sort of that using hills for strength and a bit of speed work, in terms of that adaptation and development. But generally Wednesday and then the weekend runs, the two back-to-back weekend runs, are going to be zone 2. Yeah, predominantly. Excellent. Yeah.
One thing on that I would possibly change is having your Tuesday, Thursdays as the hard session. That's cool. That's totally fine. Having it always Tuesdays is your quote unquote speed day, and then the Thursday is your hilly day. Whichever one is the priority to develop, I'd have that first, because you'll be less fatigued for it. So if you're in a block where you go, I really want to be emphasizing the hilly development, put it before you do the speed stuff, because the speed stuff's going to put you through fatigue to do the hilly stuff. Yep. Right. So whichever one it is that you want to get the most bang for your buck out of, do that on your Tuesday after you've had the Monday off completely. Then you've got that kind of maintenance long floaty run on Wednesday, and then the Thursday where you'll be carrying a little bit of residual fatigue from the Tuesday. Do the thing that isn't as important, that you're not trying to develop as hard. The other thing that you kind of spoke on then was splitting your long runs into doubles on that Wednesday. that would be very advantageous because your body doesn't return a great amount of stimulus after about 2 hours of running. So a lot of times, because milers are very long and you're going to be on your feet for a really long time, the obvious way of training is to go, I need to spend a lot of time out running, which is not inherently wrong. But up until 2 hours, you get excellent bang for your buck on a training stimulus and a return on investment, stimulus to fatigue ratio, all that stuff. Past the 2 hour to 2.5 hour mark, that stimulus doesn't continue to go up by a whole lot. It goes up a little bit, but the fatigue markers go up by exponentially more than they did prior to that 2.5 hour. So the more of the weekly volume you can keep to individual runs that are under 2.5 hours, 2 hours around that, the better. There is some caveat to that as well. Some people need to run really long for the mental headspace of going, I can run really long. With your training history and experience with running milers, you're probably not in that camp because you've run a lot and you know you can. If this is your first miler, we might throw in a few 4, 5, maybe 6 hour runs, but typically I'd only throw those in every 3 months anyway. Just as a kind of test your legs, feel how you're going, and then we can evaluate training based off that. It's like a little test. You don't have long enough to throw those in. When you throw in a run that is that 5 or 6 hours, the residual fatigue markers, if you were to test them, will be in your system for up to a month, maybe a month and a half after. So they last a lot longer than what you feel. And then this is where a lot of breakdown and injuries and illnesses and all of that sort of stuff can come from, is people beating themselves up a little bit more than what they can recover from, which I'm sure you've experienced at some stage with being self-coached anyway. Cool, that's good. Then our weekend long runs, we've got like lots of volume, especially this middle area here. You've got Saturday 40k and then followed by Sunday 20k. The more that can be broken up into that 40k being 220s, an AM run, PM run, and then the next day AM or PM to finish it off, that'd be good. Hitting 3 20k runs instead of 140 and 120. For the same reason of you'll accumulate the same amount of time on feet, so the joint conditioning and all the physical things that will change will be about the same. The fatigue levels will go down comparative to if you just did it all in this one big shocking event, and then you'll be able to recover a bit better for that following Tuesday where you hit your next like quality session. So we want to be forward thinking of going, we want to hit a good run on that Saturday, but we've got to be thinking that Saturday can't then cost us the next 4 workouts.
Sure.
Because then over the global, like kind of 30,000 foot view of training, you're doing this one really nice hit out and then costing yourself the next 4.
All right.
Very good. So with your deload, something I would like to touch on with that too is half of the volume is good. With the speed sessions, keep the quality the same, even though the volume is less. Let's just make sure that's in there so that you're still touching everything. You're just not pressing it as much. Had you considered how the deload will look from a point of lifting and strength work and anything outside of running?
For this, I'm not accessing a gym with, all the equipment and the barbells and the heavy weights. So predominantly any strength work I do is going to be body weight, weighted vest, or dumbbells, and only sort of up to sort of 12 kilos, I think, with the dumbbells. So my plan was to do them Tuesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, or night.
Excellent.
Sorry. So hard session in the mornings, and then that evening. So keeping the hard day hard and not putting any hard work into the easy days. So they're more of a recovery or gentle day. So that's the plan for those. And then, so that's like the 2 sort of specific strength. But then the other things are more conditioning. Then, they'll be like core work, things like that. That will be just sort of littered out on the other days. So really ideally to a total of about 4 hours in total of strength, conditioning, mobility, flexibility, which also includes like foam rolling and band work and things like that. So all of that would be ideally in an ideal week. I'm probably looking at around 4 to 5 hours total of that across the 7 days.
How are you putting foam rolling in with the rest of that stuff?
So generally, I mean, look, to be perfectly honest, generally foam rolling, the foam roller comes out when I'm starting to detect soreness, or when I know I've done a fair bit of work.
Yeah.
whether that's strength work or the running,
Yeah.
where I've done like a 40K run. But I won't do it on the same day, so I won't do it that night. Generally, I'll sort of leave at least sort of 24 hours, and it might be so Sunday night might be spent sort of doing half an hour to an hour even foam rolling, and then that same thing I might do that on a Monday night or a Wednesday night.
Yeah. Okay. Foam rolling is an interesting one. There's not a lot of very hard evidence on what foam rolling does. There are some studies and some articles that come out every now and again that are going, oh, foam rolling will do this for tension and knots and adhesions and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a yes and no. It depended on what was surrounding the foam rolling. So foam rolling is an isolated incident. It will give you temporary pain management and relief and all that. That does happen. But the reason that happens is just because the tissue's filled with blood. It's a little bit more malleable, like literally it's hotter. And then it's like if you heat up rubber can move a little bit nicer. So it's same as your body and the tissues. If you heat it up, it becomes more malleable and then that surface can move better. If you're going to be spending the time foam rolling, you want to make sure that investment is worth actually investing in, as opposed to just another thing that is more shit that you got to worry about and think about and then fatigue yourself with doing.
Yep.
So foam rolling is best done in accommodation with something else. So you think of foam rolling as like a primer, right? So if we were going, my hammies are a little funny, and I'm going to foam roll my hamstrings and make them hot, warm, malleable, whatever it is, they're in an excellent primed state to receive a stimulus and then adapt. The foam rolling itself didn't do the stimulus though. So if we're going, my hamstrings need to become a little bit longer and need to be able to handle mobility work better, cool, do the foam rolling, make the tissue hot and malleable and all the good things that foam rolling does, but then you have to then go and do the mobility work with your hamstrings
do the floor work
to create the stuff that's going to actually create a potent, long-lasting adaptation and lead to all the gains that you want. Vice versa, if you were going, you've got some kind of issue with your gait, like a Trendelenburg gait or a hip drop where your hips kind of drop down from one side and someone's giving you glute work or some lateral hip stabilizers to try to correct that a little bit, you can use foam rolling to make that tissue a little bit more receptive to a stimulus, then hit the training that will correct it, and it's like stacking these resources on top of each other, which is how they would do it if you're a professional.
Yep.
Right,
Jason has given me some pictures and things like that to do.
Yeah, so that sort of stuff, if you pair it.
Imbalance,
If you pair it with the rolling, it'll make the rehab essentially a little bit more potent, which is where you go, you look at professional athletes and look at how quick they recover from stuff because they're paid to be recovered. Like the sponsors are going, it's in their best interest to get that athlete back representing, therefore we're going to pay for every professional under the sun to work with them. They do it in very intelligent stacking where you'll go, we want this recovery modality stacked with this recovery modality stacked with this thing that provides a stimulus, which gets this big bang for your buck and they recover really fast. Versus your layman person kind of goes, I throw some foam rolling in on a Sunday and I do some stretching on a Tuesday and I do some strength work on Friday, and then sometimes I forget my strength work and then I throw it in before the foam rolling and it's just kind of hodgy-podgy. That hodgy-podgy nature, if we're a little bit more intelligent with when we program things specifically, you don't need as much of it, so it's a time saver. But it also just makes it work faster. And then that's good. When we're looking at having not a lot of time to train for things, we want to find as many things to stack up together to make the stimulus more potent and quicker.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, like that you made, because when you're talking about it, that in itself, but is there anything else when you're foam rolling? So I don't think I'm alone in being a bit lazy with core work. So I do find that if I spend a fair bit of time foam rolling, it's actually quite a decent core workout for me.
It can be.
In just keeping my body up off the ground so that I can roll. So yes, I might be doing the hammies or the glutes or the ITB, for instance, the things that I'll mostly do, like lower leg and full leg and ITB, but all that time I'm keeping my body up off the ground, so I am working the side
there's
and the core,
etc.
So
that core work, better than nothing, obviously. But generally with your core stuff, running is a dynamic rotary based sport, so you'll want some kind of dynamic rotary based core stuff as opposed to just a static holding. That's something I see a lot too. When people come in, I'll go, like, if they're doing core, it's usually planking and crunches, and you look at that and you look at running, And you go,
Yeah,
they
there's
don't
not
really
a lot of
match.
crossover.
Yeah, there's not a lot of crossover between the two. One is this very dynamic, ballistic, fast exercise, and the other one's totally static. So you're going, how is that going to help the other one? It probably won't. That's probably a conversation for another time, though, on how to look at core and program and all of those sorts of things. Cool. So I think that mostly covers everything from a point of like I said, 30,000 foot view of just going, here's a program, and just first impressions and thoughts on it. If we were to have a log of like each individual workout and how you were feeling doing them and what the splits were and all that, we could go into a lot more detail with a lot of these sorts of things. But I think that gives you a good starting point, at least to.
And they're the things you would normally do with your clients that you're training.
Yeah, absolutely. I also see most of my clients through the week at least a few times. So it's like someone like Nathan Williams. You know, Nathan? I usually see him like 4 times a week at the minimal end of things, and then sometimes 5 or 6 if we're doing a couple of things outside of the group sessions. So a lot of the times in that environment, it's kind of, we have this blueprint of everything we're trying to achieve, and then it's, hey Nathan, how you feeling today? How's everything going? How's your body feeling? And then the plan is just evolving as we do it anyway. It's very hard to have something like this where you write down, this is what I'm going to do in 15 weeks, because you don't know what 15 weeks from now Rob is capable of. Yes. It could be less, it could be more. You could be rocking a little Achilles niggle, which is now gone. Now we can't do all the hill stuff that you wanted to do, and we need to adapt to flat ground. Vice versa, you could pick up a little high hamstring issue, in which case it's like, now we need to do some mechanical work. We can't do flat, fast stuff anymore. All of these little things need to be a bit fluent in the way that they're put together. Cool.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's an important thing to be mindful of for anyone doing any training program, isn't it? Really, that you know, you do need to just keep tweaking and evolving as you go, because someone might, just might not be adapting as expected, and so then you need to, okay, well, we're not going to ramp up as much as you might have thought, or that was ideal, and also, allowing for, well, besides injuries and niggles getting in the way, you know, sometimes it's life, you know, it's if you've got a family, could be, you know, sick kids, sick partner, you know, all
sorts of things.
Work conferences where you've got to travel and things, and you go, all right, I'm not doing 24 Ks on Wednesday morning because I'm interstate, you know, and things like that for work. Yeah. 2 things that I will kind of leave you with as well. One of the biggest mistakes people make is cramming. Which I'm sure it's the same thing, you probably have experimented with that at some stage, but just going, you want to be here, you're not there yet, there's 5 weeks to go or 6 weeks to go, and then you go, I'm going to chuck in some really hard training sessions and get ready. That doesn't really ever work, because you're just not going to adapt to the training when there's not that much time to go, and then they'll probably get you injured as well. And there's a motto that I've kind of come up with for the squad, which is race when ready instead of get ready to race. So this instance is a good example of that. You've got 15 weeks to get ready for this very crazy thing. It would be good to have that crazy thing in your head without having a year date and going, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z stuff, but I don't necessarily know when. So a lot of my guys are going, we want to train for a 3-hour marathon, or we want to train for a sub 15 5K is one of the kids' goals at the moment. All these things that are quite hard to achieve, and if you put a timestamp on it, it makes it harder, because now you're limiting what things can be done within A to B time frame. And the way that racing is set up, we really like A to B time frames, because it's like, well, this is the date the race is, and it's like, no one said you'd be ready by then. It's, you've had your best educated stab at it, but the body doesn't respond by going, we've got 15 weeks until race day, therefore the training will definitely work in 15 weeks. It's better to go, I'm aiming for a 3-hour marathon and training for a 3-hour marathon, and when you start getting close, you look at dates and go, now that we're in the ballpark of where we wanted to be, we can start looking. It takes the pressure away. It's really good too. People that get racing anxiety and all that stuff, as soon as you implement that, a lot of that goes away, because they go, and I could have 10 weeks to do it, or I could have 10 months to do it. It doesn't really matter anymore. There's just this, there's the end goal, but there's no date on the end goal. And it's not even really an end goal, it's just a milestone. Well, I mean, you know, 6 foot normally is in March. You know, it would have been done and dusted
a long time ago.
It's just unfortunate this year in particular. I mean, it's fortunate that they were able to run it rather than just cancel it for the year.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm very keen to just get another 6 foot finished. But instead of it being one of the A goal races. In this
This next
case,
will be.
it's just going to be a training run.
Yeah.
For the miler, for the Lonely Mountain miler. So, yeah, is what it is. I certainly would never have planned to have all of these all in such a short period of time. But oh well, it's you need to do these things that challenge us. So,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm 100% for people challenging themselves, but just for all the people listening, it can be a really
don't be
helpful-
ridiculous. Yeah.
but it can also just be a really helpful mindset shift of going. And obviously, there are times where you can't do that. Someone who's training for the Olympics, it's like once every 4 years. You're not going to go, I'm just going to do it when I'm ready. You've got trials, and there's a lot of things that need to happen to get you to the Olympics. So there are dates on that. But if you're going 3-hour marathon, that's pretty loose. Which marathon? Doesn't really matter as long as it's flat enough. Then it'll be something that could have a 3-hour marathon. Same as long as there's competition to run with. That sort of stuff will work. So when the credentials are a little bit wider, then you can afford to be, I've got kind of 4 or 5 shots at the goal instead of it being, it is this one.
Yep.
And that's be all end all.
Yeah. I hear.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time.
No worries.
And we'll see how the training continues.
Absolutely.
All right. Cheers.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Talking Trail. I am here with Katie Rainbird, nutritionist extraordinaire. So Katie has kindly agreed to be part of my Fellowship of the Ring. She's going to try and help me to get to not only successfully complete the Lonely Mountain Ultra Miler, but also the whole challenge of trying to do 3 ultras in 5 weeks. So she's part of my team Bulletproof. Welcome, Katie.
Thanks for having me back, Rob. I know we gave this a crack a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
But the
technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties. All good. It's given me a chance to think about how I would approach today's chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, ready to rock.
All right. So first up, Katie, tell us a little bit about yourself. So not only your involvement with running, but also how you got into being a nutritionist.
Well, the two go hand in hand. Running came first. I started running in 2005, so 20 years ago. When I say I started running, I had run, but it was always part of something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there was like a circuit class or something where you had to do a lap of the gym or something, or I might go and do 30 minutes on the treadmill and then 10 minutes on the Stairmaster, but it was never just a run. I had moved to a beautiful part of Sydney, the inner west, not far from the Bay Run.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a lot of road options, nice flat, scenic, by the water, road options, and I would do about 2K a couple of times a week before work. And that was my running experience until 2005 when I met my now husband. And he and his flatmate used to do the Bay Run, which is a 7K run. And one afternoon, they asked if I'd like to come and do the Bay with them. And I didn't know what it was or the distance, but I also didn't want to say no and seem like not a joiner, because I was trying to impress my then boyfriend that, I can run, I run. And it was September, so it was warm, and it was about 4:30. And I was wearing I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing long leggings, and I didn't even have like a running top. So my boyfriend lent me one of his, which was this massive, like oversized man's running shirt. I was absolutely swimming in it. I was so hot, but I was, again, too proud to say that I was struggling. I'd never run 7Ks before, but I made it. And when they told me, you just ran 7K, I thought, wow, like I ran 7Ks. So it was no going back from there. It's sort of like when you get to that first longest distance, like I read this quote once in a Runner's World magazine, which was, you're always chasing the feeling of your first 5K.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of true, because you just think, wow, I accomplished that thing. And then I really got into running. So I was a road runner. I would do the Bay. I did 7, and then I went to double, which was 14. And then, of course, I entered my first half mara, which was the 2006 Blackmores Running Festival, which has become what it is today, which is the TCS Marathon. And I would do that annually. So I managed 3 of those before becoming a mum. And then my running took a slight hiatus as I dealt with pregnancy and postpartum, etc. But I would always come back to running. So just going back a little before becoming a mum. So I was running a lot, 2006, 2007. I ran myself into red S. So I unintentionally. I do care what I look like, and I did like what running did to my body. I lost weight, I toned up, etc. But I did incidentally lose a significant enough amount of weight that my period stopped for 2 cycles in a row. And I was lean. I mean, I lost my breasts. Like, I was teeny to the point where people who loved me would say, you know, are you okay? And I instinctively knew that I was missing something. So I delved into the world of fueling, just through whatever resource that I had available to me, which at the time was the Runner's World magazine. I know we spoke about that yesterday. And the internet a little bit. Still, I mean, 2007, like, it was around, but, you know, blogs and niche sort of topics were still in their infancy. So I would read anything I could on running and nutrition, to the point where I just felt like there wasn't enough for me, and that I decided to study nutrition. That was my entry into nutrition, was I want to know how to feed myself so that I can run as much as I like and keep my period and keep my body weight healthy and avoid injury, because I was suffering shin splints, bit of ITB, little sort of injuries here and there. So I enrolled to be a nutritionist through a private college. I enrolled in 2007, and then it was 2009 when I had my first baby. So it all sort of overlapped. The running, the studying, the motherhood, it sort of all got blended into one. And I wasn't able to ever sink my teeth into the reason I studied nutrition. Because I'd become a mum and I was so deeply into motherhood, my area of interest as far as nutrition was concerned became mothers and babies, postpartum, toddler feeding. So even though the running's always been there, that was just for me. And then my area of interest became more of nurturing the pregnant woman and the postpartum woman, and how to support breastfeeding and fussy toddlers, etc. And I still am very passionate about those things, and I can cater to them. Because I went on to have 2 more babies, and it was a really deeply entrenched time of my life. But now that my youngest is 8 and I have picked up my running again, I have remembered my why, so to speak. I know it sounds a bit corny, but last year we moved home to the mountains after 23 years of living away, and I felt a little, I don't know, like a little towel between my legs about coming home, because I thought I was going to be a city girl forever. And I love the mountains. The mountains has always been home, but coming home was a real sort of the end of an era, you know. And I didn't want to just rest on everything I had already known from the mountains. I wanted to sort of reinitiate myself to my home in a way that was special just for me. So I thought, I know, I'll join a run club. I'd always run by myself. I'd never joined a run club. I did used to see Sydney Striders shirts out on the bay. And I didn't know how you could get into a run club. I legitimately thought, like, you might have to do a time trial or something. Like, I didn't know you could just join one. Because they were always so fast as well. Like, when you see a strider out in the bay at 6:30 on a Sunday morning, you know, I thought, oh, geez, that must be a fast run club. So I typed into Google run clubs, Blue Mountains, and the Blue Mountains Marathon Clinic popped up. And I thought, marathon clinic? And I don't want to run a marathon. I don't want to go clinical about it. What's this? You know, but I joined because I thought, well, there'll be a touching stone. And I went along to my very first group run on a bitterly cold, frosty morning, 5:29 a.m. What the hell is this? I tried to keep up.
Was that Cassiopeia on
Wednesday morning, 7Ks. In the first 2Ks, it's a rolling hill until you get to Bednall. And I ran all the way up Bednall. And when we got just before Plateau, I actually had to pull over for a little vomit. I was like so embarrassed.
That is a big hill. Like, come on.
It would have been about 5:36 a.m. at that point. I had not run that early or that fast ever. And I was like, oh, well, I'm in now. Like, this must be the initiation I was hoping for. But yeah, finished it up, went back for coffee. I thought, okay, this is what run groups are all about. And then, yeah, it's just sort of expanded for me from there. So through the BMMC, I found out about the Glenbrook 440. And if I had to put because I run with 3 run clubs. I run with BMMC, 440, and the Her Trails group. And if I had to put them in order, 440 would be at the top because they really are like a family. It really is an inclusive pace. And through the 440, I discovered trails.
Mm-hmm.
So this time last year, I was training for my first trail race. I did the Glenbrook 25 in August. And yeah, I've properly fallen for the trails.
Excellent.
And I laugh because they were always there. I grew up with them. I mean, my backyard was the Warramoo Fire Trail.
Okay.
I used to run barefoot down there from my backyard. So it just continually blows my mind that these beautiful outdoor spaces have always been available to me, but I had to move away for 23 years and then come back to find them.
And appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that's a story that a lot of people have grown up somewhere and then moved away looking for greener grass, and then they come back and go, oh, how beautiful is this?
I know. Makes
how
me
special
laugh.
was it?
It's always been there.
All right. So getting into it, making me bulletproof. So
yes.
Besides the physical side, which, I've obviously got some other people in the Fellowship of the Ring to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about my diet.
Okay.
So, obvious disclaimer, what Katie is presenting is all about me, being a bit selfish
absolutely.
here. So it's not one-on-one advice to every person who's listening in.
And it's not normally done in such a public forum. Like, it's usually patient practitioner confidentiality, just to make a note of that as well.
That's all right. Thank you. All right. So you've got some questions for me. So this is really to set a baseline for where I'm at now, and I suppose some of my beliefs around nutrition and what I think works for me. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to part company for a week or two. You're going to come back and say, okay, based on what we talked about, this is what I think we should do.
Yeah.
Follow up. Yep.
I feel very privileged that you've asked me to do this for you, because I think you've probably got it on lock anyway. But there's probably a few things.
We'll see.
We'll see. We can tweak.
Yep. You'll see if you can teach an old dog new tricks, huh?
Okay.
All right.
So you want me to just ask you questions?
Yep, fire away.
Well, I would normally have a pen and paper, but I guess I won't take notes. So for the purposes of the podcast and not to make it boring for viewers or listeners, initially I would be asking you age, date of birth, address, all the rest of it, but we'll keep that on the lowdown. Yep. I'll just say, hey, Rob, what would you like me to help you with today? What would you like to talk about?
Yeah, so I don't really have problems. I don't routinely have problems during races. I have had some stomach issues and nausea and vomiting in a couple of races. Given the miler is the big goal, both of my previous milers, I had a section of vomiting. Very vastly different outcomes between the two races.
Yeah.
But
when we say miler, we're talking 160.
161 Ks, yep, 160.
I don't know, because there's 50 milers as well.
Oh, so sorry.
So
okay.
the miler.
The miler is 100 miles. Yeah, shorter races, I don't really
tend
to have a problem with that. But part of this is, I think, the recovery side of things from normal training.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm going to have a 24-hour event, 7 days later I'll have a 45-kilometre race in 6-foot track. 3 weeks after that, got the miler.
So it's the Ferber Stairs and then 6 foot
and then
Lonely Mountain.
And then Lonely Mountain 3 weeks after 6 foot. So I suppose in building up the training that is going to be sufficient for me to have the energy to not only complete each of those events, but also
knowing that it's one stacked on top of the other,
Yep.
stacked on top of the other,
Yep.
and not wanting to become just a blubbering, broken mess by the time that the A goal race, which is a Lonely Mountain race, comes around. So, yes, I suppose I want to have you pick the eyes out of my current fueling strategy.
Yeah.
And
So-
say where I can improve. So one thing that I'm trying to do is up my protein, right? So that's probably something that I've not really focused on. It's always been about carbs. Prior to races, it's always about, carb loading week.
Yeah.
And taper week, and making sure I carb load for that. During the event, during long training runs, saying, okay, well, I'll take in so many calories per hour or so many carbs per hour.
Yeah, do you go
That's
on
always
calories
been
or
the
carbs?
focus. Either.
Okay.
Probably looking at carbs more than
Yeah.
calories now.
Yeah.
And there has been so much talk and discussion and testing in the last sort of 2 to 3 years around going high
Very
carb.
high carb, yeah.
It's a very really hot thing at the moment.
It's not new though.
It's not new.
It's not new.
It's
It's
not new,
just-
but it's probably new in the running space more than anything.
So what I noticed is that you said you generally don't have any problems or issues with your racing fuel, your training and racing fuel. But I'm wondering about your everyday diet. That's sort of where I focus on the most, especially.
Perfect.
So, because what I was going to explain is that, first of all, my approach as a nutritionist is, I trained holistically. I sort of hate labels, but I did. I trained through a natural therapies college, okay? And I love my training. I love my foundational skills. But obviously, when we're dealing with sports nutrition, I've had to totally re-educate myself because the things I eat to get through runs are not like holistic nutrition. We're doing sour gummy worms, we're doing Doritos, Coca-Cola, all the white bread for 3 days before because it's quicker to metabolize, etc., etc. So I've had to investigate that whole area of nutrition on my own and feel like I'm somehow cheating my education or I'm not doing it right. But I'm past that now. I'm so here for balance and nuance and using what's appropriate for the goal. But what I'm finding with recreational athletes like yourself and other people I've worked with is that you've already got it up here. You're going to go out and perform anyway, even if you're bonking, even if you've got gut issues. You've already got the mindset part of it. And I love that because I think that nutrition it's a pillar for sure, but for people who've got it up here, they can almost get away with not paying that much attention to it for a while. There will come a point where they plateau and they find that they're adding minutes to their PBs and they're not recovering as well, or they might pull up with injuries and they think, nothing's really changed. I still do the same training and I'm still in the good shoes and stuff. And it's but how are you feeling yourself on a day-to-day basis? Because when it comes to nutrition, it really is the slow burn. Performance nutrition is not, because you can see the results in the minute, on race day, but to keep turning up to races, to keep finishing at your goal time or within a margin of what you deem acceptable for yourself. Your everyday nutrition is what counts, but you won't see effects of it for decades, maybe 50-plus-year-old. You can't get away with what you weren't doing in your 20s, in your 40s and 50s. It's just not going to deliver for you. So I'm more curious about your everyday nutrition than I am about your race fuel.
Yep.
But I am going to ask you about your race fuel.
So do you want me to just run through
what
a
I would
typical
say
week
is,
then,
I know because I follow you on Strava that you have been picking up your strength training. So I wasn't surprised to hear you say that you've been focusing on protein more because it just goes hand in hand. So I guess I'll just ask you about that because it's pretty relevant and happening for you at the moment. So what does that mean? Explain to me what increasing your protein looks like.
Okay, so typically breakfast would be porridge, or it would, and that's more. The porridge I only really do before a long run,
Okay.
my weekends. I might do.
So when you say typically, do you mean training day typical?
No. So, training days
most days of the week.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
okay, yeah.
So midweek, I would normally have muesli with yogurt.
Mm-hmm. Are we doing a high protein yogurt, like a Chobani or something?
No, often not. No, just sort of your standard Coles, Woolies yogurt. Not the Greek low sugar yogurt. I just can't stand that.
Yeah, you don't have to go low sugar.
Yeah, so I'm just
protein.
I'm just having like what I would call fairly normal off the shelf yogurt.
A whole tub, a whole 200 ml.
Yeah.
Or just okay.
Yeah, that with muesli. So that's normally what I'm having post run if I'm doing a morning run.
Post run. How soon post run? Within half an hour.
Within half an hour. Unless we're hanging out in the coffee shop, in which case it might be an hour.
Yeah, so you need to bring it. Have you ever seen me turn up with a protein bar?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. Yep.
Yeah, you need to pack something.
Yeah, so that's one thing. So, but then on the days when I know that I've worked hard the day before, like in terms of like more strength sided, or if I've got it planned for that day and I know, okay, I need to up my protein. So what I'll have is like 5 or 6 eggs.
Yeah. In one
toast.
sitting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, because it's
so that's 30 grams.
I know that shocks a lot of people, but it's only 30
grams.
grams. And if I'm trying to get
scramble?
something, I can do. Well, it depends on time. Sometimes it's fried, sometimes it's poached, sometimes it's scrambled. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's just like when you work out how many grams of protein it is, you just go, really, I should have more, but but 30 grams is.
I think that's fine
for a sitting. Lunch could be anything, and then dinner will be. Yeah, I have a fairly varied diet. Meat and veg, or Italian pasta dishes,
rice,
or
meat.
Thai, whatever. Yep. So it's fairly consistent.
Just a typical
household.
Yeah.
Meals. Lots of fruit. Lots of vegetables.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a high consumer of fruit. What is it?
Why is that?
Pieces. Why do I not?
Yeah.
I just find that I don't really love fruit.
What's your favourite fruit? What's your favourite winter fruit?
I'd probably be bananas. So bananas I have regularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that could be the post run, or it could be a pre-run. Pre-run as well. Bananas.
Depends on how ripe
it can be in the snacks. So why do you say that?
So the less riper banana, the more resistant starch. So the slower release of glucose. The more riper banana, the opposite, basically. So if you had a banana with brown spots that was quite soft, that'd be great pre-run. So
then I'm using that as fuel for that run.
Yeah, so the greener and harder a banana is, basically, the more resistant the starch. So it's like sort of more likely to play havoc on your guts.
Yep.
But also just a slower release of the sugar. But yes, they have different effects on blood glucose depending on their ripeness.
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
So let me just check. You're saying muesli and yogurt post-run.
Yeah.
What are we doing pre-run?
Often fasted runs.
Fasting.
Yeah.
Okay. How? What distance would you like? All distances?
Midweek, all distances. Yeah.
So
if
10K
I'm going
and
long,
under.
Yep. Or even 14.
Coffee though? Anything?
No.
Hydration?
Very little.
On the run hydration?
No.
Okay.
Not midweek.
Why? Why not midweek?
Because
you don't need to hydrate on a Wednesday?
No, I don't hydrate on a Wednesday.
Okay. Okay.
Or any other morning.
Well, I'm just going to
so generally, so generally, I will take hydration with me if I'm doing probably 2 hours and beyond.
Right.
Or if it's summer, like a hot. So if I'm doing a lunchtime run, for instance, if I was going to do a lunchtime run or a straight after work run, but in the warmer months, then I might take a 500 ml flask with me. Yeah.
Okay. So if I did have my notepad right now, I would be like asterisk, and I'd be like, okay, challenge. So I will tell you what I'm thinking. Okay. I would like to see, so with your muesli, do you prefer it sort of fresh, or can you handle an overnight oats situation?
No, I've tried that. My daughter's really keen on the
like
overnight oats in the mason jar and all that. But yeah, I just find it's too
that's fine. I'm not going to go there
just
then.
Too thick and
what
slow
about okay, let's just, so have you got bananas always in your house?
Yeah.
Okay. So could you peel a banana and have like literally 2 or 3 bites of it while you're tying your shoelaces? Like just
easy.
Yeah, okay. So that's gonna be my first thing. It's just you don't have to eat the whole banana, just a couple of bites. And then can we just do like 200 mils of water?
Yeah.
That's my first thing before you run.
Yeah.
See how that goes, because it could stimulate even that, because you're so conditioned to going out fasted and not hydrated. That could stimulate the bowel. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to you 2 to 3 Ks in. But if it does, that's fine, because you will adjust to that as well. What will happen is that after a couple of weeks, you'll end up stimulating the bowel before you leave the house, because your body will just get used to that. We go now.
And that's generally what happens on weekends.
Yeah.
So if I'm going out for, anything sort of 2 to 5 hours or whatever,
You can
on
do
the
a bathroom
weekend, then
trip
I will
before.
get up like an hour earlier
Yes.
than normal. I will have tea.
Yeah.
So I don't drink coffee, but I
Yep.
drink tea. So I'll have tea, and then I'll have whatever I'm having for breakfast. So whether it's a few pieces of toast,
Yep.
or it's the porridge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally have the New Zealand yogurt if I'm going out running. So that either of those options,
Yeah.
breakfast options, that'll get things moving.
See
So
how
that I'm
conditioned we are,
so
though?
that
Like, we really are
I'm
like
lighter when
Pavlov's
I
dog.
head out on my run. Then
Yeah, 100%.
and I don't have to look for a service station or whatever. Yeah.
But it'll, you know what gut training is, obviously, being in the running scene. But it doesn't apply to just elites. It's everyone. So you can actually train yourself to eat a little something, like I'm talking 20, 30 grams, 20, 30 grams of carbs, a couple of 100 mils of water. It would be great to see you take a flask, or at least seek out a bubbler or something, to just take little sips along the way. I was also going to say, because I did hear you talk about your nutrition on the UTA tips episode you did. I know you like to put honey on your oats for extra carbs. Even if you couldn't bring yourself to eat like a solid food, you could just do a tablespoon of honey before you leave the house. You don't have to actually eat, and that's super quick. I mean, I know you've got access to cost-price gels. I don't see any reason why you can't have a couple of gels in the pantry. So my first challenge would be, for any run, I'd say 5K or over, let's go for just 20 to 30 grams of carbs, a little bit of hydration, and then keep up your post-run meal, because that sounds good. But I would say seek out the higher protein yogurts. Most brands do them. They don't have...
Yeah, I will have. So I have the is it YoPro and Chobani. That'll be my snack.
Yeah.
So throughout the day. So I had one today.
Like a 200 mils,
sort of
but
like
like 15
morning
grams of protein
tea
or something.
sort of time, mid morning. I had one of those gel packs.
Get that onto your muesli as well. Okay. And so you've said breakfast, lunch, dinner, but you haven't mentioned any snacks. Do you not snack?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So as I said, it might be like a protein bar. Sometimes it might be actually like a whey protein shake.
Okay.
As well, especially on those days when I know I'm not having a lot of meat. So
what's that blended in? Just water or milk or?
Both, depending on what blender I've got access to.
Yeah.
So just the handshakers, normally they mix better with water. But at home I will do milk with chocolate flavoured protein mix.
And what's the grams of protein per serve of that? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I've got it. It's
like 20.
Yeah, I think it's about 20, and I often will go like 1.5 times.
So with your liquid macros, you can add an egg always to anything, really, once you get it in the blender. A tip is to actually separate the yolk from the white, because then it doesn't taste that eggy. Obviously, you lose a bit of protein because, but the egg yolk makes a nice silky texture, and you're just getting that little extra protein into your shake. So if you are at home and you have the time, you can always add eggs to your smoothies.
For an extra 4
extra
grams.
Protein. And also, but also the micronutrients. I mean, an egg is the beginning of a life. So all of the sprouts, alfalfa, all the rest of it, snow pea sprouts, mung beans, seeds, nuts, eggs, they're all the beginnings of new life. So they're condensed little packages of protein and the micronutrients. So you are going to get just a little hit of B vitamins and things like that too.
That's good.
Yep. What about afternoon tea? Because you're here.
Yeah, so afternoon tea might be today I just had some trail mix. Yesterday had...
Can't keep yourself off the trails.
No, gotta have some. Yeah, it could be a protein bar or a yogurt.
Okay.
Or one thing I've been doing a lot lately is, cubes of cheese
Yeah.
on Jats
I'm here for
crackers.
that.
Yeah.
Chuck a little glass of Prosecco in. Happy days.
not at work. No.
Okay, great. So I'm hearing a lot of same foods. We're doing yogurt. We're doing muesli. We're doing trail mixes. So you're obviously a man of routine, and that's fine. I'm not going to mess with it.
Mhm.
I don't really like to take things away from people because then they don't like me and they don't want to comply. I prefer to add things.
Yeah.
So I love the cheese and crackers. I think that's great. And I think you could maybe even go a little cold cut. Like not every day, but, salami and the other sort of deli meats. You can get them, they're ready to go at the supermarket, and that's just your extra protein, plus it's super tasty. But more like if you were having, I don't know, like steaks or chicken breast or sausages or even like a roast dinner, I know you've got a fridge upstairs, you can just bring a container of leftover meat, and then for the next couple of days you can add that to things. So if you are doing a little nosh, you can just be eating some meat. It doesn't have to be warm. You can even pop over to the supermarket where they've got their ready-to-go salads and then add to that the leftover meat and then the little tins of 4-bean mix or corn or even lentils if you like them, just whatever sort of legume ready to go, and you can add those as well. So just to bulk up, but this is in a quick way, like a ready-to-make way. It's not going to add too much stress to your meal prep when you're at work. And then things like halloumi, feta, cottage cheese, just experiment with a few different types of the cheeses. And
Did you pick those three because they're higher in protein, or what made you choose those three?
because they're yummy. Feta makes everything better. Look, I said it here first, okay? You can spread it. You can stir it through a pasta salad, through a leafy green salad. It goes nice with meat. Cottage cheese, you can use it as a spread, so you could put that on a wrap or a bread roll. If you've got a loaf of fruit bread, toasted fruit bread with cottage cheese and a drizzle of honey, delicious. Halloumi, I don't know if you've got access to a sandwich press. If you've got a press upstairs, hello. Squeeze of lemon, yum, what a great snack.
Yeah, I do
Just
love
pop that on
halloumi.
the sandwich press, squeaky cheese. Just little sneaky ways to increase your variety of protein and just make your day a bit tastier.
Sounds good.
Yep, that's why I picked them.
All right.
Okay, so that's your everyday diet. What about hydration? Sort of how many 500 ml bottles of water would you be drinking a day? Or tea and other things?
So probably a litre. Yeah, I'd say probably a litre a day, just throughout the day.
Of just frank water?
Of just either water or in
tea. Yep. Yeah, no, I'm not someone who's like, oh, that's not water, because it is. It's boiled water. It's 200 mils of water. So it absolutely counts. Just a litre though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to drink a lot more. I used to be about 2.5 litres a day. But with this job, it's more difficult to get away from.
Why don't you wreck
customers.
one of the vests and just be sipping all day from your soft platters? Just like, look at this. Look how versatile this thing is. Yeah, I know it's cold as well. So a trick that I do for myself, because I'm also, like in the summer, of course, you're thirsty. In the colder weather, that thirst sort of dials down and you can ignore it for a long time. So I'll put a splash of cordial into my drinking water in the winter to make it more palatable, and just once you've had that first sip you want more because it's yummy. I like the Big Foods, they've got all those different flavours, and I've actually started using those in my bladders when I go on long runs too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you can make it more concentrated, things like that. So all right, so far with your average daily diet, I'm feeling we want to be doing a little carbs before you run, a little bit of hydration. Happy with your post-run meal. I think we're going to aim for a high-protein yogurt. And then we're going to increase your variety of protein foods throughout the day, specifically in the snacks, because I think your main meals are sort of no worries. But, yeah, things like bringing leftovers, Um,
Well, that's generally what lunch is.
Yeah.
It's leftovers from
yeah.
the night before.
And maybe going and doing a shop once or twice a week and making sure you've got those options upstairs in the staff room with your protein bars. I would assume they're about, 10, 12 grams of protein
Yep.
per bar? Yeah, okay. And you like them, that's fine. There's no need to change that. Okay, so happy with that. So the way I like to work is no more than 3 things. So I don't really want to give anyone more than 3 things to do. So already we've got like carbs, hydration, and just get a bit more variety into your snacks. Like if you were legitimately a client right now, that would be it. I'd be like, that's enough for you because you've got a life. You've got work and family, training, etc. That's 3 things for you to just focus on until we see each other again. And I think that's enough. But I do want to ask about fueling for long run days. So I know you've been going out and doing like 30Ks most Saturdays.
Yeah.
How do you fuel that?
So that is with either Trail Brew, Tailwind, or Scratch.
How many grams per hour carbs?
I'm just following the directions there. So I couldn't tell you exactly how many grams that is, but I could work that out.
Is your 25 grams per scoop?
Mm-hmm.
So how many scoops?
So it'd be 50. Yeah, generally 50.
Sorry.
Yep.
50 grams an hour.
50 grams an hour. Yeah.
That's a good baseline start
50 to 80 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, just depends on the
and you're drinking
and
it
how
all.
much I'm drinking. Yeah.
You're not doing any solid food?
No, I will. So if I'm really pushing, then I'll have gels as well. And if it's longer, sort of beyond 3 hours, then I'll probably have like Cliff Bars.
Okay.
Or the Cliff Blocks and the Scratch Energy Chews as well.
So you're using all like ready to go sport fuel?
Yep.
Have you ever taken just a Vegemite sandwich or a packet of chippies or anything?
During long ultras, absolutely. That's all part of the
station
aid
food?
station. Well, that I've provided. Yeah. So I use salt and vinegar chips mid race.
Fave.
Yeah, me too. And I try never to have salt and vinegar chips in normal life.
Oh.
So that I don't get sick of it.
Special occasion.
So it's special occasion, which is just it's ultra food.
Okay.
So then I won't have that flavour fatigue of I've had too much recently.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's new. Yeah, another trick I've learned over time. And same having whether it's Vegemite or Promite sandwiches, and even had ham and cheese.
Yeah.
For the extra salt.
Yeah, when you're getting into your 3 hours plus, a little bit of protein, good idea. So I'm thinking about your weekend 30K run.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing a little 48-hour carb load?
Not usually. No, not doing anything extra special for that.
Okay. What about just the day before? Do you eat a little extra pasta at dinner or?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay,
yeah.
That's good. Because I feel like, 30K is a race distance for some people, right? But obviously you'll be doing easy pace for 30K because you're training yourself to go longer and longer.
Yeah.
But I think that it would be a good idea to maybe do a little practice nutrition. Because are you going to be picking up your Ks? Are we doing 10% extra every week? How do you...
Yeah, we'll continue to ramp up. Yeah.
So you're going to get to what? A 50 to 60...
kilometre run?
Yeah.
No.
Not that far?
No. So I think I'd top out at 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to encourage you to be a little bit more strategic about a mini carb load. So on starting on Thursday night dinner, I'm not going to go grams or anything because I don't like to get too much into the weeds with that. That's another thing I will say just as a little tangent is that when it comes to fitness and specifically running, because that's my area of interest, it is not uncommon to find disordered eating or even a history of clinical eating disorders in the community, which is easy to understand because people who care about health and wellness, it just sort of goes with the territory, and it can be problematic for fueling because you need to fuel to perform, but you need to fuel in very different ways and in greater portions to get the performance, and then that can really mess with your head. So it's a bit of a sensitive topic, and I would prefer to take it one-on-one if I'm going there. But I wanted to highlight it because I have noticed through people I know and people I've been observing, but also just the community in general, and then the broader sort of community through social media and other podcasts, and it's a definite topic of interest. And I think that it's getting a lot more attention these days, especially because high carb's sort of trending at the moment. So it's really sort of spotlighting how underfueled a lot of people have been. And I think that's good. I think sometimes the pendulum has to swing so wide. Like we have to be going, oh, we're going to go 110 grams of carbs an hour to come back to maybe getting people just to do 60 because they've only been doing 30. So when they double it, they go, oh, wow, I ran really well and I didn't feel fatigued where I normally do. And, oh, actually, I didn't recognize this, but I was able to go out that night with my friends where normally I'd be on the couch, or, you know what I mean? So I think it's great that higher carb is getting a lot of attention at the moment because it's drawing attention to how effective it is and how necessary it is. So I would like to see you do like a mini carb load, you know, starting on Thursday night, having a bigger portion of whatever's served. And then on the Friday, just being mindful. And if you can't eat the carbs, drink the carbs. So you can be doing Tailwind, you can be doing Coca-Cola, peach iced tea, whatever, you know, drink your carbs, blend them up as well. So eat them through lollies or other just little bits and pieces, you know. So I know, for example, that 4 sour gummy worms is 20 grams. They're 5 grams each. I know that because I'll reach for one at a time out of my Snap Lock bag. So you don't have to sit down and eat like a massive carby breakfast and then a carby snack and a carby lunch and another carby snack. You can sort of just drip feed them throughout the day by drinking and just chewing on like a lolly at a time or a chew at a time. And I would be interested to see how well that serves you when you go out for your Saturday long run. Just if you notice any sort of, I don't know, I'm not saying that it's going to like set you off like a rocket down the trail, but just to see how more even your energy feels, or how on certain pockets of a familiar trail you feel like you maybe performed a bit better or endured a bit longer. I just would be curious to see how that plays out for you.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's a few
wrap.
key things for me to adopt and try out. So thank you very much for joining me and sitting with me.
We've only just scratched the surface, by the way. We're going to go so deep.
All right. Well, let's keep. we'll keep going. So, if anyone was interested to get in touch with you,
get in touch with me.
How will they best contact you?
They can find me. At the minute, I'm most active on Instagram. I do have a website, but it's been a bit dormant. Although I am there. But my handle on Instagram is Nutrition Everyday. Can you put it in the show notes?
Well, we'll. Yep.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes because my name was taken, so I had to come up with like a little acronym.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. Through Instagram, you can DM me there or just comment, and then you can follow the link in my bio through to my website.
Excellent.
Yes. So that's how you can find me.
All right. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
Cheers.